Darkness. In darkness always comes the question, where is the light? Light. Light, it begs the question, why was it dark? Dark. Where is the light? Light. Why was it dark? Darkness. Light. 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 The story. The child. Waiter! 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 Can I get a little service here? A little service here. I would like your finest light, s'il vous plaît. I would like a portion of light with a little light on the side, if that's okay. Is that okay? The question. Darkness. Of course it's okay. The story. The child. Look, I just want a little bit of light here, if that's too much to ask. I mean, in the great scheme of things, in the great who's who of what's what, we've got to fight for the right to light. Light is right. Light power! A friend of mine from New York, he said to me, hey Lemon, don't be so heavy. Tune into Light FM. Heavy. Light. Heavy. Light FM. Fuck me! Hey, no need to swear. No need to use profanity. There are children here. No. It clearly says on the poster that there are not. But hey, what about my inner child? Your inner child. Yes, my inner child! Look, it clearly says on the poster there are no children. That includes your inner child. The story. The child. The child inside a woman, the woman inside a bed, the bed inside a ward, the ward inside a hospital, inside a city, a foreign country, inside the sea. Me. An island in an island in an island. Me. Light. Ladies and gentlemen, shadies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. And when I say coming, I don't mean coming. It's not like I say that anyway. All I want to say is, you came and that's good. My God, it's great. I love it that you came, that you wanted to come, that you didn't let other thoughts stop you like, I'm going to. You simply came, which is, after all, a good thing. We're all coming and going. Bus driver on the 73 once said to me, where are you going? I said, Marble Arch. And he said, no, where are you really going? I got off the bus quickly, really quickly, darkness. There I was on Tottenham Court Road, middle of the night, darkness. Now there's something critical about being out late at night if you're a black man. Something dark. A taxi! Ribbons of yellow light flash past at eyes of wolf, light, darkness. Oh, taxi! 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 The light passes and pisses his yellow stream over me. I'm not pissed. I'm pissed off that the third piss had passed. Darkness. I didn't see it coming. The darkness, the mental stillness. I just saw the light run away from me. I just needed a lift. It's not heavy, it's light. So there I am on another day with a very good friend of mine who you could describe as white. 6 taxi passed as I tried to catch one. Now, let's look at the odds here. I'm in my hometown, whatever that means. It's 2 AM, I'm hailing a cab, and not one, but 6 drive past. They slow down, they look at me, and they carry on. I put the bread knife away. I'll prove it, I say to my friend. So I sit behind the wall. The cab comes past. The cab stops. We get in. I don't believe it, my friend says. 6 taxis go past and they don't stop because my friend, he'll stop for anyone. Anyone barks the driver at darkness. I look at the taxi driver talking to my friend, and my friend talking to the taxi driver, and I'm still sat behind the wall, folding up my darkness and gently placing it inside my inner child's mouth and telling him, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. It's only a taxi. Listen to your friend, listen to the taxi driver, everything is okay. Darkness. I hide behind a wall to prove why the taxi driver is hiding from me. Darkness. In a mental stillness. Darkness. It's 1968. It's the year of the Enoch Powell speech. It's the year Martin Luther King is killed, and the year that the Beatles released the White Album. And she arrives here from the bright lights of a decolonized Africa. An Africa in its 20th century heyday, an Africa which fought for its freedom. And she's here, in the dark industrial north of England. Illegitimate. She's pregnant. She's cold. She's really cold. I'm an island inside an island inside an island, and she needs help. She needs light at the end of the tunnel. Wigan Metropolitan Social Services. The social services offered single fallen women the mother and baby home. This would sort out the problem. This would be the light. This Ethiopian woman wanted her child fostered, wanted good, wholesome foster parents while she went to study. But there was another agenda. These houses were adoption houses. I was fostered and my mother went back to Oxford. As the kind foster parents picked me up from the cot, the social worker said to them, "Poor child, abandoned by a Negro. As soon as we find her, we'll get her to sign the adoption papers." So they did as their God instructed them. I was a sign. I was a message from God. I was Norman Mark Greenwood. For the next 11 years, all I heard was that this woman deserved to have her eyes gouged out for not signing the papers. She was an evil woman, too selfish to sign. I spent 11 years kneeling and praying. I tried praying once, "Can I have a bike for Christmas?" And I always answered myself, "Yes, of course you can." And then I was supposed to decide whether that voice was God or the devil. They told me, and I believed, that the devil was inside me and needed to be cast out. The Baptists loved a good carpet for kneeling. And the 1970s had never seen a more knee-friendly carpet than the shag pile carpet. Praise be to the Baptist-friendly, unfortunately named shag. It came in handy for the weekly ritual. My knees were crossed to the ground and my neck bent like a giraffe. I looked up, and the tiniest bauble of spit spun from an elder's mouth. It caught the reflection of all four men who surrounded me. The reflections moved, turning like the glass at the end of a blowpipe. Finally, it caught my own pocket reflection, wobbling towards my eye. Blink, blink, blink. My father and the elders looked at each other, both acknowledging the devil leaving me through my tears, and I was being spat on. I started counting the threads. The hand on my head took the grip of a basketball pen. The elders were on the attack. "Cast it out!" growled an elder. It felt as if the thin volcanic ground was about to open up, giving way to the pressure of the hand on my head. Was the devil crawling from the center of the earth, reaching out his spiny arms from the howling bowels of Babylon and wrapping his sinewy fingers around my neck, my legs, pulling me down? My father and the elders were on the precipice. And above them, our burning, destroyed house, fire pouring from the mantelpiece, the ceilings, the curtains, all were gone to a fierce red and black sky. The elders held crosses in one hand, and my hand in the other. God's wrathful face hung in the congealed sky. My father began quoting the Bible, and my mother began pulling at her hair and speaking in tongues and unintelligible language only God knew. Bugger, I thought. This carpet needs cleaning. I started counting the threads. One piece of thread. Two pieces of thread. The hand was no longer on my head, but between scalp, skin and skull, sinking and sinking, rubbing deep and into my head. Start again. One piece of thread. Two pieces of thread. As the devil punched his angry fist into my stomach, the threads of the carpet between toils of smoke from the fire peat fields of the highway somewhere inside that biblical labyrinth that had been built inside of me, somewhere down one of the corridors was a room, within a room, which led to a door from which there was a rope bridge, which led to a door in a crack in the rock. And as I opened it up, there was a little boy giggling and laughing. But the key to the door, to the bridge, to the door, to the room, to the room, to the corridor, to the way out of the labyrinth was sewn into his own skin, in his back. A minute scar that he had never seen before. It's known within the hospital industry as a foreign body. But I love them. They do that, don't they, families? Not all the time, but on occasion they have the family meeting. The family meeting suggests an opening, revelation, an issue, like, children, mummy and daddy don't like each other anymore, or children, daddy will now be known as Gwendolyn. There came such a moment, such a day, such an event. I was told a whole 24 hours before, and a dangerous excitement blushed inside of me. I couldn't wait to get home. And there it was, the drop leaf table, fully stretched, fully extended. Maybe Mum was having another baby, but that couldn't be right. She just had one. She called her an accident, which I thought was an unusual name. The alerted senses, the prickle of excitement, the wonder, the danger, the nature of revelation is discovery. First weird thing was that none of my brothers and sisters were there. Only me. Just wait till I tell them, just wait. I can't remember who spoke. I just remember watching their mouths move in slow motion until the words stilled in my head. Yes, you don't love us, do you? I was still waiting for the actual revelation, for the reason for this meeting. Yeah, stop, she said. We want you to go away and spend the next day thinking about love and what it is. Go and read the scriptures and come back tomorrow with your most honest and truthful answer. Okay? I see. I saw. She wanted me to commune with God and His work and to dig deep within myself from where there should be an answer which was not instinctive but instructed by God. Praise Him. Tomorrow came. I spent all day, all night, at home, at school, studying the question. If she was asking me if I loved her, and she was the one who taught me what love is, then I mustn't love her, otherwise she wouldn't ask. This led me to the miracle of thought which I think she wanted me to get to. I have sinned, and I will ask God for forgiveness, and through His benevolence I shall learn. I shall learn to love them and Him. His love shall shine through me to them. Theology was perfect. The humility unquestionable, the timing impeccable. And the answer as honest as a sinner could get. How fantastic. This was an opportunity. I mustn't love you, and I'll ask God for forgiveness because, Lord, because you do not love us, you have chosen your path. 24 hours later, my social worker, a man that I saw once a month, was waiting outside in the car and said goodbye to my parents. Neither of them would hug me, and nor in my wildest predictions did I think that I would ever see them again. Nor would they phone. I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to my brothers, my sisters, my aunts, uncles, grandparents, uncles. Such was the Caesarean secrecy. I just disappeared. On the way to the children's home, I said to my social worker, I know I have sinned and I'll ask God for forgiveness. That was the final straw, the last piece of information that he needed. The car shuddered and we pulled into a labour. None of this is your fault. None of it. It wasn't until 20 years later that I would find out that my parents called a whole month before and said, Norman wants to leave. He's chosen to leave. None of this is your fault. None of it. I was so effectively brainwashed that at the age of 11, I believed it was. I was a sinner. The devil was inside of me. None of this is your fault. I was never beaten. I was chastised. Chastised with belts, chastised with rulers, chastised with slippers and with canes, chastised but never beaten. And as I arrived at the big Victorian children's home, I began to think to myself, what has happened to me? I hadn't had the rug pulled from beneath me as much as the whole floor had been taken away. From then until 18, I was in children's homes, the legal property of a Wigan council parented by the government. They never phoned, and I simply folded myself into myself and became everybody's extrovert. Within 2 days, I'd been christened with the nickname Chalky White. Chalky White. And there it was, chalky white tattooed onto my hand, and there it was, barely visible, tattooed onto my hand, NG Norman Greenwood. And there it is, on my left hand, the tattoo of a crucifix. So there I am, many years later, in Starbucks, being served by a beautiful girl. As she held out her hand to give me the change, I saw the dark. It was a Vietnam moment. You were in the war, I said. She looked at me suspiciously and instinctively pulled down her sleeve. I raised my, me too, I said. She smiled and we connected, knowing we shared our secrets of our lives. We both remember running away in the dead of night, setting off the fire extinguisher. We both remember the viscous smell of industrial bleach and the floor polishing machine. We both knew the survival tactics. And we look back and say, damn it, we were only children, it wasn't our fault. And what could we do but slit our wrists, puncture our skins with blunt pins and blue Indian ink bottles of quink? This is my name. It means nothing to nobody but something to me, see? I didn't even spell chalky right. It came out as shaky. The tattoo of a crucifix on my hand. Why do you think me and this girl tattooed our left arms? Because we were right-handed. I had a pin in each knuckle and a letter per finger, L-O-V-E, love. After a few days, when the scabs had congealed, I scratched them furiously until they poured blood and ink. I've got to get them out. I tore them, exposing deep welts in the flesh. So now they lie beneath my skin, barely visible, like ghosts. I was 14, tattooing myself and sniffing evil stick. I have to tell this story, because there's no one else to put two and two together. I became aware that nobody I knew for longer than a year. While in care, I simply became aware that the only proof of my existence was myself. See, that's what family gives you. It gives you reference points. This is not defining a good family from a bad family. This is saying that you know when your birthday is by the virtue that someone tells you it's their birthday. A brother, a sister, a mother, father, an uncle. It matters to someone, therefore matters to you. Understand? I was the only proof of my existence, my own echo, tattooing myself into myself. Dark. Light. In the children's home, I was told, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So what did I do in Rome? I did as the Romans didn't. As a good Jewish friend of mine said, when in Rome, you're amongst the Gentiles, do what you like. Deep East Lancashire always struck me more as spam country than climb country. I didn't hate my town. I hated what it stood for. It stood for nothing. The miners had been broken down, the mills had been dismantled, and this lone black face represented everything that everyone feared. Tomorrow. So there I was, the boy who came from nowhere, to be no one in a town that believed in nothing, yet stood against everything. Hey, I was somebody. Not just anybody, I was nobody. And I knew this because everyone kept telling me so. Me and my kind are invisible. I mean, how could this girl tell her father, hey, Dad, I'm going to meet nobody, do you want to come and see him? So I became somebody. I became everybody's nobody with a nickname no one would ever forget. Chalky white, invisible. The aftershock started to set in. And I heard whispers of chips and shoulders and started listening to Bob Marley and started to withdraw from the darkness of being somebody to everybody but no one to anyone. I could smell the lies and it just got stronger. I'm 15 and being the smiling village idiot just didn't sit well with me. I realised that acceptance on someone else's terms is not acceptance at all but thinly veiled rejection. Maybe all I know is wrong and my intuition is right. Maybe I am really nobody. I began asking myself, why am I asking these questions? Why? Why can't I just smile? Why can't I? The light at the end of my tunnel comes from my torch, and when I look back, it's just as bad. Enough to make a sane man mad for the good times he's never had. Batteries are going. When I got back from holiday, Bognor Regis, I stopped wearing shoes. I stopped wearing shoes. Without reason, I stopped wearing shoes. Without thinking, do you know what? I'm going to stop wearing shoes. I just stopped wearing shoes. I walked around barefoot and treated it as normal as pie. Proudly, I learned to walk on glass and to stub out a cigarette with my little toe. It was a silent rebellion, an implosion. You can take away my identity, but you can't take away my feet. If you like. I was barefoot. I was barefoot for a full 12 months in Lancashire. If we ever had six senses, the feet would be the sick. There's nothing more gratifying than walking on soft, wet, dew-covered grass. Not many things as sensual as walking on warm pavement still. My feet became like hands, gripping all the different textures of the world. Slowly I learned to tell the difference between tarmac and the gentleness of soil or peats or heathers. Point being, I was searching my senses, barefoot dreadlocked. Bet you can't do that in the snow. It's the most common thing people would say. Bet you can't do that in the snow. Of all the things to say. You could have said, get help. Or you could have said, what's wrong with? They could have pulled me over some hot coals and said, you can't do that, you foolish boy. I mean, who cared enough? Who cares? Bet you can't do that in the snow. It was dark. It was nighttime. And I looked up and watched thousands and thousands of pieces of snow fall from the sky. Little pieces of light scattered the darkness. As a child once said in a workshop, nighttime is like a shoal of black fish scattered with sea salt. When day came, I put on my scarf and walked out onto the councillor stick. I walked on the virgin snow, leaving barefoot footprints as I went. I had to leave that town when I left care because all this town could offer me was, bet you can't do that in the snow. I bet you I can. So, this black boy, who'd been called Snowflake more times than he cares to remember. This boy who was commonly known as Chocolate Drop and widely known as Chalky White, better known as Norman Greenwood. When I got back to the children's home, I put on my shoes again. I watched my footprints disappeared. Snow melted and left behind road salt. The scattered seasoning of winter's coldish dish. It felt as if I was never there. I'm 18. I'm in the flat I signed on for. I'm alone. Nobody but nobody is responsible to me. Not on Christmas, not on my birthday, not when I'm ill. Not on weekends, not on Saturday, not on Sunday. No brothers, no sisters, no aunts, no uncles, no cousins. Lucky you, said a loose friend. Families are a pain, and what would I give to have that pain? At least if I did have that pain, I would know that I'm alive. Dark. After I moved into the flat, I had my final meeting with my social worker. My life had been punctuated by case conferences. Norman, he said. Your name isn't Norman. See, legally, the government was no longer my parent, and therefore they had to hand over one important document, and that was my birth certificate. It had 2 pieces of information on it. Lemen Cisse, my name. And my mother's name, Etsegnet Haile. It was a cold, dark, midwinter's afternoon, but the room seemed to be filled with so much light. I was somebody. This was a truth. A clear, undeniable, handwritten, documented, recorded, witness-signed piece of undeniable, incredible, absolute truth. And there was more. There were letters dated July 1968 from my mother. I wanted Lemon back. I wanted to be with his own colour, his own kind. I don't want him to be discriminated against. The reply: many thanks for your concern. Lemon is doing very well and is in good health with his foster parents. Yours faithfully, Norman. Letters from my mother pleading for me back, written to a man called Norman Goldthorpe. He named me after himself. After that, I reverted to the only thing I knew, my name, Lemon Cisse. In that small town, I lost all, and I mean all, of my friends. Who do you think you are, Lemon? I had to leave everything I knew. Not because of what I thought I might be, but what I knew I was to become. And most of all, and above all, I just wanted my family. I had no qualifications, no experience. I had my birth certificate and a fistful of poems, and I was going to Manchester. And there was no going back. Manchester! Light! The bright lights! The big city! A friend of mine said to me, hey, I didn't know I lived in the ghetto till I heard it on the news. First time I heard patois being spoken, I stood shocked still and rooted to a rootless spot. This was Vegas. No, this was Lagos. No, this was Kingston, Jamaica. It was Hull, Manchester. I was an outsider going inside and inside out, going the wrong way out a one-way street with too much weight on my sleeve. Ah, the food. Chicken and the chicken run. The first time I heard someone say, "Why you want?" I thought it was a name, but really it's a question and should not be followed by, "Why you want?" The fish, red snapper in onion pepper sauce. Dumplings, like clouds in stews. Fried dumplings, like nuggets of air bubbled gold. Ackee and saltfish. Saltfish fritters, curry goat, rice and peas. I was in the land of milk, honey, plantain, yam, sweet pumpkin, gunga peas and banana cake, and I was hungry. I was hungry for it all. Light, 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 light. This was light. First time I went to the hairdressers. First time I went to a dance. First black girlfriend. First time I've been in a room filled with black people. First time I've been on a bus and there were other black people there. First time a black person been behind the counter when serving me at the bank. Light. So much light. First time I went to the hairdressers, Raymond's on Great Western Street. It had products with names like World of Curls and pictures of people who looked like me, smiling. They looked like me. Light.
Are you separating or integrating?
Look, when I go to a black person to buy food, or go to a black person to get my hair cut, I don't go because I'm trying to separate from any white person. I go because, well, they give me what I want. It's not like there's a black person standing at the window in a hairdresser with an AK-47 dressed in khakis like, have you seen any white people go past? I don't live in an all-black area because there are no white people. I live there because they look like me. You don't know how important that is until it's taken away from you. I separate and integrate every single day of my life. Is this how I have to come up to you and say, hey guys, I'm integrating with you right now? No, no. I breathe, therefore I integrate. All I see are people pointing at me and separating themselves from me, yet asking me, are you separating? Are you integrating or what?
Well, are you?
Look, I'm just a poet. Nothing more, nothing less. I do. I do it for a reason bigger than this. I'm 20. I just wanted my hair cut. What you want? Just cut them off. And I watch as my dreadlocks fell from my head like overripe breadfruit. All that weight swept away from my head. I felt a little lighter. My first book of poetry was being published in London, and the more I found, the more I wrote, and it opened up a vastness. Amongst the fluorescent lights, there was only darkness and coldness which swept across me like wind over an ice pond. And no matter what I did or who I knew, certain facts just remained frozen. Christmas was when hell really froze over. Nobody I knew for longer than a couple of years. And I could follow the hairline cracks of my birthday, razor sharp to the touch. I had to find her. From the addresses from letters that I'd been given by my social worker, I started sending them out across the world, wild hunches and guesses. I've been sending them out since I was 18 years old. Letters and poems to people I didn't even know. And there it was. The airmail envelope on my front room carpet. I couldn't believe it. Hello, my friend. I've been searching for your mother for 2 years and I finally found her. She works for the UN in the Gambia and is currently stationed at the UNDP offices. Before I knew it, this Lancashire lad was gripping the seats of a 747 flying his way to Gambia. I called my mother from England, but all the words immediately left her lips, as if I, the painter, had swirled the paint on the canvas of that moment. I remember asking her, do you remember 1967? No sooner had I put down the phone that I was arriving in the Gambia at dusk. It's a small world. It really is. I remember a time when my Lancashire village was the biggest world, and then the city, and now this. I met a Muslim man on the plane, 6 foot tall, 2 foot wide, and he said to me, do you know those people behind us? They work for the UN as well. And they did. Everyone knew everyone. Outside the airport, there was a black Mercedes waiting for us. We will take you, he said. They will take me. I can't tell you what my head was like at that moment, but I will try to describe to you. Get 2 pints of mushy peas and pour them into a colander. Then press them down and imagine people on stilts, and one is longer than the other, and they're trying to catch the squeezy, cheesy mess in their mouth without bumping into each other. Okay, I jumped off a bunchy bridge and I'd forgotten to measure the rope. Hey! Light. No, between dark and light. I was in a black Mercedes, flying through the Gambian dusk, golden dust flying up behind the Black Panther. One by one, the UN people left the black Mercedes until it was just me and the driver. He had the most fearsome, yet kind, bloodshot eyes. Black Panther halts outside some manicured hedges. I can hear my mother shuffling behind the hedges. My heart's racing. My palms are sweaty. How do I act? I recited a verse. I recited a verse to myself. Gold from the snow, oil from the earth. I yearn for my home from the time of my birth. Strength of a mother's whisper shall carry me until the hand of my lost sister joins onto my birth. And I'm hugging her, and she is hugging me, and I'm hugging her, hugging me. On the dark porch, light shines out onto us. Come in, come in. And then she says, please, I have a visitor. Let's not talk about this now. The black Mercedes disappears and the Gambian cricket slides into my head. Let's not talk about this now. She sat. It was the strangest thing. She sat and I made polite conversation with the visitor. Ah, yes, it does rain a lot in Manchester, but no more than Paris. Ah, but we see rainbows. in my head, I'm running about and I'm telling myself, it's okay, nothing to see here. Listen to your mother, listen to the visitor, everything's okay here, put it away, everything's okay. Fucking Manchester, put it away, fucking rain, it's hot! Oh, yes, oranges would be great, thank you. Fucking rain in fucking Manchester, the fuck am I talking about that for? Oh, how was the journey? The journey was fine, just fine. Oh, fucking journey, fuck the fucking journey! In defense of my mother, ladies and gentlemen, she didn't do anything wrong. She did everything right within her control. I mean, what would you do if a random 21-year-old guy knocks on your door and says, "Hi Mom, I'm home"? She couldn't cope. And it's Christmas in 2 weeks, and it turns out I have brothers and sisters who are currently at international schools in Belgium and Paris. After 2 days, my brother arrives from school, and I still haven't had any sort of coherent conversation with my mother. Is she hiding from me? Look, I just want to talk. I've got a lot of things. She tells me not to tell my brother who I am. Says that she'll tell everyone at Christmas, and Christmas is still a week and a half away. In the Gambian heat, every day feels like a year. I'm dying. I watch my mother play with my brother. She's glad to see him. I'm demoted to cousin, which, considering my brother doesn't know who I am, is basically bad, distant, the cleanest uncle's nephew. I don't tell anyone, and I just simply fold myself into myself, hide behind a wall. Is my mother hiding from me? In darkness, in a mental stillness, I had to get out of there. I've never known a secret. Keep it within these four walls, no four walls. What happens with this in this family stays within this family. No family, and there's never been any hour. But I can keep a secret. And this was the first family secret I'd ever been asked to keep. I didn't tell my brother. I sat with him. I watched him. I laughed with him. One time we played drafts outside a local shop, and I watched the way his mouth moved and his eyes squinted as he tried to focus on the game. I didn't tell anybody. It was 2 days before my sisters were coming home, but I had to go. I couldn't cope. But there was one day when my brother went out with his friends and my mother was alone with me. She's alone with me. Look, I just want to talk to you. All right, she says. What do you want to know? I couldn't think of anything. I just couldn't. I mean, what do you ask? All right. There's no other way of putting this, but now there are so many ways a child can be conceived. She couldn't remember my father's name. Right, okay. This was a secret she had to keep for 22 years. This was the second or third secret that she'd asked me to keep. And I had to put it somewhere. She was 21 when she first arrived in England. I was 22 when I first met her. My father would have been 23 or so. The last time she saw him, he would have looked like me. This was the first time she was seeing him since then. There's no other way of putting this, but I was raped. Who could she tell? Who could I tell? I'd given her my first book. Tender fingers in a clenched fist. I dedicated it to her. I'd scared the life out of her. She scared the life out of me. I was the life scored into her, scarred into her. I was an alleged crime, an illegitimate allegation, a crime figure. I flew back to England, to Manchester, to the place I should never have been, named by people who shouldn't have had to name me, fostered by beasts who shouldn't have been able to foster. Who could I tell? Ladies and gentlemen, fresh from Africa after meeting his mother for the first time, please could you give a warm welcome to famous poet Lemon Sissay. Thank you very much. The first poem I'd like to perform is called Gold from a Stone. Amazing I wrote this just before I met my mother and my sister for the first time. Water, cupped in hands, taken from the stream, brought upon a laughing land through the mouth of a scream. Gold from the stone, oil from the earth. I yearned for my home from the time of my birth. Strength of a mother's whisper shall carry me until the hand of my lost sister joins onto my will. Roots to the earth, blood from the heart, could never from birth be broken apart. Food from the platter, water from the rain, the subject and the matter, I'm going home again. Can't sell a leaf to a tree, nor the wind to the atmosphere. I know where I'm meant to be and I can't be satisfied here. Can't give light to the moon, nor mist to the drifting cloud. I shall be leaving here soon, costume, cultured and proud. Can't give light to the sun, nor drink to the sea. The earth I must stand upon, I shall kiss with my history. Sugar from the cane, coal from the wood, water from the rain, and life from the blood. Gold from the stone, oil from the earth. I yearned for my home ever since my birth. Food from the platter, water from the rain, the subject and the matter, I'm coming home again. Manchester became the closest thing I had to home. It's a good enough place to die. I'm 21 years old and I have no one to call me on my birthday that I've known for more than 2 years. I came home with the information that I had the face of a rapist and his victim. And it was no one's fault. I tried to keep in contact with her. I really did, I did. Tried to ignore the newspaper reports about the troubled childhoods of murderers and robbers. That wasn't me, that wasn't me! I smiled, published more books, but she was gone. It took me 5 years to find her again. 5 years of believing that my mother was running away from me because she believed I was stalking her. She was trying to protect her sons and daughters from me. But I was an old hand at this by now. And by hook, by crook, and through UN contacts, I found her again. I faxed her. So, what is my father's name? His name is Berhanu Sise, she said over the phone. He was a pilot with Ethiopian Airlines. I put down the phone. The crew who was filming me take the phone call asked me, Lemon, could you pick up the phone again so we can get a shot of your hand for a cutaway? Nobody knew. Not the crew, not anyone. When I met my father, I was going to beat him. We flew to Ethiopia, the crew and I, and when we got there we found out my father was dead. Died in a plane crash in 1973, the son of a wealthy family from Addis Ababa. I went with his daughter to where the plane lies in the Simien Mountains by Gondar. You can learn a lot about a person after they've passed. It's as if he's returned, his family said when they saw me. All that grief from his passing and all the joy from my being was mixed into their fascinated stares, their long looks, their touching of my face. They touched my face. Touched. There was one man there who was not related to me. His sister was married to the Prime Minister under Emperor Haile Selassie in the 70s. He was also part of the government. When the emperor was overthrown, most of his friends were killed and he was in prison for 15 years. His wife had to flee the country. 15 years. His wife was my mother, my brothers and sisters, his daughters and sons who went to the international school. when the dictatorship was overthrown, he was released. 15 years away from his sons and daughters and his wife. He pulled out a wedding album. "Come, see," he said. I looked at the album. "You know, I knew about you. Your mother tried to get you back. And what was it between me and him? It was no one's fault, and we all had to accept that what is simply is." The final piece of the puzzle. "Do you know what your name means? Lemon, your name means why." I'm 32 years old. I'm a poet. My name means love. Why? I mean, I couldn't have a more apt name. I kept in touch with my brothers and sisters. And they learned more about our mother through me than through her. "It all makes sense," said one of my sisters. "When I was 16 years old, I was sent to rape her. Of course she keeps her distance from us. Of course she does, of course." So now I have a dysfunctional family, like everybody else, finding them all of them, reaching out and touching them all. I told them what I believed happened, and they gave me a different truth. You know, it's not black, it's not white, it's not dark, it's not light. Secrets are stones which sink the boat. Take them out, look at them, throw them out, and float.